straight from the heart of East Tennessee. This is 10 News at 5.
We are seeing so many customers come in to increase their text packages.
To text or to call, that is the question, and today we're taking a closer look at how more and more people are choosing one over the other. Welcome back to 10 News at 5. I'm Beth Haynes. Which would you rather get, a phone call or a text message? New research shows a growing number of people actually prefer the latter. More than 30% of cell phone owners who use text messages say it's their preferred method of communication, but more than half still said they'd rather get a phone call. Add to that the fact that young adults between ages 18 and 24 send, on average, more than 100 text messages a day. That's hard to imagine. And texting appears to be taking over. Wireless carriers like U.S. Cellular are seeing more people updating their plans to include more text messages each month. Sales Director Jack Brundage says part of the reason for the popularity of texting is how easy phones have made it to text in the last few years.
It's such a convenient way to talk, and it's easier than it used to be. In the past, you had to go through your standard dial pad and click till you got to your letter. But today, most of the phones now have like some kind of full slide-out QWERTY keypad or touchscreen keypad, so you can just basically text just like on your computer.
I forgot about the old dial pad. They have made it much easier. Well, U.S. Cellular also offers over-age protection to help prevent the sticker shock some people see on their monthly bill when they go over their allotment of text messages. And we posed the question to the lunch crowd at Market Square this afternoon to see which they preferred, calls or text. And here's what some people had to say.
Sometimes you don't have the time to really have a whole conversation because there's other things that go along with a conversation that wouldn't go along with a text.
I would prefer text messages, but that's just because I'm a non-small talk type of person, and I want to get to the point, and if I ask a question, I want a response immediately, and if I'm doing other tasks at the same time, I don't want to have to take the time.
I'd probably send a text message if it was short. When you're going to meet somebody, you just can say, I'm on my way. It's a lot easier than having them answer the phone, but what do you want for dinner tonight? That's probably a phone call.
Well, for more on this topic, we are joined by our tech expert, Dan Thompson from Claris Networks, and we appreciate you being here. And I have my phone. If you want to do this interview by text, we can.
We should do that.
100 text messages on average.
Blows my mind.
Teams today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine. I don't know how many I text, how many messages I send during the day, but I know it's nowhere near 100.
Yeah.
Having said that, which do you prefer, texting or a phone call?
I'm a phone call guy. It drives me nuts when people, when you call them and they won't answer their phone, but then they'll text you right back. I mean, they're not right in the middle of something. They just don't want to answer the phone. It drives me crazy. But I totally get why people text all the time. I'm about 10 years removed from the demographic you mentioned a minute ago, so I'm not in that, purely text crowd, but like a couple of the viewers mentioned there in Market Square, there's just this associated overhead with a phone call, and what I mean by that is, you say your hellos and your goodbyes, and then there's this, especially here in the South, there's this implied need to have some small talk in there, and
you
with
got to make a
message,
commitment to it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And with a text message, you cannot be rude and cut straight to the chase and ask whatever it is, or tell the person whatever it is you want to tell them, and then the conversation's over. What blows my mind, though, is like my nephews who are between the ages of 16 and 22. They'll carry on entire conversations over a text message, and I'd just say, pick up the phone, man. It's quicker.
Are we losing some of that verbal communication, though?
You have to wonder. There's been studies that have come out and showed, how teens' spelling has dropped because they're used to spelling in the text arena, and so, just by default, they'll leave letters out or they'll misspell words just because it's a common thing to do in texting or chatting. But, obviously, in an English class, it's not going to fly.
I'm guessing this preferred choice will probably continue and reach others, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't imagine that this is going anywhere. And like we were talking off air, the older generation now is saying, hey, to get a hold of my grandkids, I got to learn how to text because they won't answer the phone, but they'll reply to a text message. So
I have a friend that's in that very situation. He said he had to learn how to text if he wanted to keep in touch with his grandchildren. However, my dad refuses to learn how to text. He says we need to speak to each other. We need that verbal communication. But it was interesting, though, how much these cell companies have made it much easier to text. I forgot about that dial
Yeah,
pad.
man, that was a pain in the rear. And you think about now with these, your on-screen keyboards, it's simple. I mean, it's just like using your keyboard at work on your laptop or whatever. But yeah, those old-style phones, it's really not an easy affair.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Always great to talk to you.
Yeah.
And if you want to text later,
Okay.
I've got my phone. I'm ready. Stay with us. We're coming right back after this break.